Good afternoon, Crystal.
What are you doing here, Alexis?
I just want the mansion.
Alexis, I wouldn't count on Blake. Or the mansion if I were you.
Dynasty, 1981-1989, was a television phenomenon, but behind the glitz, the cast faced heartbreaking struggles. One actor's life was tragically cut short by a devastating illness. Another battled memory loss before their untimely passing. A leading star became entangled in public controversy that shook Hollywood. Their real-life struggles were filled with shocking twists, heartbreak, and unexpected challenges that rivaled the drama on screen. What really happened to the cast will leave you in disbelief. John Forsythe became a household name through his commanding portrayal of Blake Carrington, the wealthy and influential patriarch of the Carrington family in Dynasty. As the head of Denver Carrington, Blake was a formidable figure, ruthless in business, yet deeply devoted to his family. His character embodied power, ambition, and a relentless drive for success, but his complex personality also revealed moments of tenderness and vulnerability. Forsythe's compelling performance made Blake one of the most memorable figures in 1980s television, cementing his status as a primetime drama legend. Born John Lincoln Freund on January 29, 1918, in Penns Grove, New Jersey, Forsythe pursued acting after attending the University of North Carolina. His early career included radio broadcasting before transitioning to film and television. He gained widespread recognition in the 1950s and 1960s with successful roles in Bachelor Father and Charlie's Angels, where he provided the distinctive voice of the mysterious Charlie. Forsythe was not the original choice for Blake Carrington. The role initially went to actor George Peppard, who left due to creative differences. The show's creators turned to Forsythe, whose authoritative presence and sophisticated charm made him the perfect fit. His ability to bring both intensity and subtle emotional depth to the character gave Blake a level of complexity that kept audiences captivated for 9 seasons. Forsythe's chemistry with Linda Evans and Joan Collins was a driving force behind the show's success. His portrayal of a powerful man balancing business rivalries, family conflicts, and tumultuous love affairs was widely praised, earning him multiple Golden Globe Awards. Following Dynasty's conclusion in 1989, Forsythe remained a respected figure in Hollywood. Though he took fewer acting roles, he reprised his role as Charlie in the Charlie's Angels films in the early 2000s, delighting fans of the classic series. Beyond acting, Forsythe was known for his philanthropic efforts, particularly in cancer research and children's charities. His dignified presence and gentlemanly charm made him a well-loved figure both on and off screen. John Forsythe passed away on April 1, 2010, at the age of 92 due to complications from pneumonia. His career spanned over 6 decades, leaving an indelible mark on television history. He remains one of the most distinguished leading men of his era, and his work on Dynasty continues to be celebrated in reruns, retrospectives, and pop culture references. Linda Evans became synonymous with grace, poise, and quiet strength through her portrayal of Crystal Carrington, the kind-hearted and devoted wife of Blake Carrington in Dynasty. Her character was the moral compass of the show, providing a stark contrast to the backstabbing and betrayal surrounding her. Crystal's elegance and resilience made her a fan favorite, and Evans's performance ensured she became one of the most beloved leading ladies of the 1980s. Born Linda Evanstad on November 18, 1942, in Hartford, Connecticut, Evans was drawn to acting from a young age. She started her career in television with guest roles in popular 1960s shows before landing her breakthrough role as Audra Barkley in The Big Valley. Evans was cast as Crystal Carrington in Dynasty's inaugural season, and her on-screen chemistry with John Forsythe became one of the show's defining elements. While Crystal was initially portrayed as a loving and supportive wife, she evolved into a strong-willed and determined woman who could stand her ground, particularly in her infamous confrontations with Alexis Colby. Her dramatic catfights with Alexis became some of the most iconic moments in television history, boosting the show's popularity worldwide. Evans' ability to convey both vulnerability and inner strength earned her a Golden Globe Award and made Crystal one of the most iconic female characters of the decade. After leaving Dynasty, Evans took a step back from Hollywood, choosing to focus on her personal life and business ventures. She briefly returned for the 1991 Dynasty, the reunion miniseries, but largely stayed out of the spotlight. In later years, she embraced a quieter life, becoming an advocate for holistic health, wellness, and spirituality. She also made occasional television appearances, including winning the British reality series Hell's Kitchen in the 2000s. Now 82, Evans enjoys a peaceful life away from Hollywood. She occasionally attends Dynasty reunions and reflects on her career in interviews, but largely remains devoted to personal growth and wellness. Joan Collins defined villainous glamour with her unforgettable portrayal of Alexis Colby, Blake Carrington's scheming ex-wife and ultimate power player in Dynasty. Her arrival in Season 2 catapulted the show into legendary status, as Alexis brought a level of ruthless ambition, sharp wit, and irresistible charisma that audiences loved to hate. Born Joan Henrietta Collins on May 23, 1933 in London, England, she began her career in British cinema before transitioning to Hollywood. Collins appeared in numerous films and television shows throughout the 1950s and 1960s, often cast as a femme fatale. By the time Dynasty producers sought a strong, fiery antagonist to shake up the show, Collins was the perfect choice, bringing unparalleled confidence and sophistication to the role of Alexis. Alexis became one of the most infamous TV villains of all time, thanks to Collins's razor-sharp delivery and scene-stealing presence. Her feuds with Crystal Carrington and Blake were the heart of the show's drama, making Dynasty a global phenomenon. Collins's portrayal earned her a Golden Globe Award and an Emmy nomination, and her luxurious fashion sense and sharp dialogue made Alexis an enduring symbol of 1980s excess and power. Now in her 90s, Collins remains an icon of Hollywood glamour. She continues to act, write books, and make public appearances. Her influence on television remains strong, and her portrayal of Alexis Colby remains one of the most celebrated female characters in TV history. Heather Locklear. Heather Locklear stole the spotlight as Sammy Jo Carrington, the rebellious niece of Crystal Carrington, who transformed from a small-town troublemaker into a scheming, ambitious power player. Introduced in Dynasty's second season, Sammy Jo shook up the Carrington world, adding a youthful energy and unpredictable nature that made her one of the show's most memorable characters. Born Heather Dean Locklear on September 25, 1961, in Los Angeles, California, she started acting while studying at UCLA. Early in her career, she landed roles in popular TV shows before catching the attention of Aaron Spelling, who cast her in Dynasty. Locklear's natural charisma and beauty made her the perfect fit for Sammy Jo, a character who evolved from a naive young woman to a manipulative opportunist. Her turbulent marriage to Stephen Carrington, her clashes with Crystal, and her relentless ambition made her a standout in the ensemble cast. Locklear brought fire and unpredictability to the role, and her presence helped modernize Dynasty, giving it a faster-paced, youth-driven edge. Her performance earned her a huge fan following, and even though she wasn't a main cast member throughout the entire series, her impact was undeniable. Did you know Heather Locklear was filming Dynasty and T.J. Hooker at the same time? She played the scheming Sammy Jo Carrington during the week, then switched to Officer Stacey Sheridan on weekends. Juggling two hit shows at once was rare, but Locklear made it look effortless. Following Dynasty, Locklear became a TV superstar, starring in Melrose Place, where she played the legendary Amanda Woodward, a role that cemented her status as one of the most iconic actresses of 1990s television. She later appeared in Spin City, Boston Legal, and several high-profile guest roles. However, her personal life was often in the headlines, with high-profile marriages, divorces, and struggles with personal issues drawing media attention. Now 63, Locklear has stepped away from major acting roles, focusing on her personal life and well-being. She occasionally makes public appearances and reflects on her career, remaining a beloved figure in TV history. Pamela Sue Martin. Pamela Sue Martin made Fallon Carrington Colby one of the most dynamic female characters in Dynasty's early years. As Blake and Alexis's headstrong, rebellious daughter, Fallon was equal parts spoiled and ambitious, with a sharp wit and independent streak that made her a fan favorite. Born Pamela Sue Martin on January 5, 1953 in Westport, Connecticut, she began modeling as a teenager before transitioning into acting. She gained fame playing Nancy Drew in the Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries before landing the role of Fallon Carrington. Fallon was one of Dynasty's most complex female leads, and Martin's portrayal gave her depth, intelligence, and fiery energy. Her romantic entanglements, power struggles, and eventual disappearance kept audiences hooked. Martin's portrayal was groundbreaking in many ways. Fallon was outspoken, ambitious, and sexually liberated, making her a standout female character of the early 1980s. However, creative differences and exhaustion led Martin to leave Dynasty in 1984, and the role was recast. After Dynasty, Martin stepped away from mainstream Hollywood, focusing on theater, activism, and alternative projects. She became an environmental advocate and writer, choosing a quieter life outside of Hollywood's glare. Now 72, Martin enjoys a private, peaceful life, occasionally making public appearances at conventions and reunions. Catherine Oxenberg. Catherine Oxenberg brought royal elegance and sophistication to the role of Amanda Carrington, the long-lost daughter of Blake and Alexis Carrington in Dynasty. Her character added an extra layer of family conflict and drama, particularly due to her complicated relationships and love affairs. Despite being introduced later in the series, Amanda became a fan favorite for her graceful yet rebellious spirit, and Oxenberg's performance solidified her as a standout in the show's later seasons. Born on September 22, 1961 in New York City, Catherine Oxenberg is of royal lineage. As the daughter of Princess Elizabeth of Yugoslavia, she was raised in privilege and international aristocracy, attending some of the finest schools before developing an interest in acting. Her character was heavily involved in romantic entanglements, including a marriage to Prince Michael of Moldavia, which led to the infamous Moldavian Massacre storyline, one of the most talked-about TV moments of the 1980s. While Oxenberg's time on Dynasty was brief, her performance left a lasting impression on fans. After departing from Dynasty, Oxenberg continued acting in TV films and guest appearances, often playing roles that capitalized on her royal image. She starred in several biopics, thrillers, and dramas throughout the late 1980s and 1990s. Outside of acting, she became known for her advocacy work, particularly after becoming involved in exposing the NXIVM cult, which had ensnared her daughter. Her efforts to rescue her daughter from the organization received global attention, and she later published a memoir about the experience. Now 63, Oxenberg remains active in human rights advocacy, focusing on protecting women from abusive organizations. She occasionally participates in Dynasty retrospectives, reflecting on her time as Amanda Carrington. Her legacy extends beyond Hollywood, as she is widely respected for her courage and dedication to justice. Emma Samms. Emma Samms stepped into the role of Fallon Carrington Colby, the strong-willed and ambitious daughter of Blake and Alexis Carrington, after original actress Pamela Sue Martin left the show. Samms took on the role with grace, intensity, and a sophisticated charm, keeping Fallon as one of the most dynamic and beloved characters in Dynasty. Born Emma Elizabeth Wiley Samuelson on August 28, 1960, in London, England, Samms originally trained as a ballet dancer before a knee injury redirected her career toward acting. Before Dynasty, she gained recognition for her role as Holly Sutton on General Hospital, where she became a daytime television sensation. Her performance on the soap opera showcased her ability to handle intense drama and romance, making her a perfect fit for Dynasty. Samms joined Dynasty in 1985, replacing Pamela Sue Martin as Fallon Carrington Colby. She took on the role at a pivotal time as Fallon's storylines grew more complex, involving her relationships with Jeff Colby and Miles Colby, and the introduction of the Colbys spin-off. While fans initially struggled with the recasting, Samms's performance won audiences over, bringing a more mature and refined edge to Fallon. She remained with the role until the show's final season, and later returned for Dynasty: The Reunion. After Dynasty, Samms returned to soap operas, reprising her role as Holly Sutton in General Hospital multiple times. She also took on roles in TV films and guest appearances, maintaining a steady career in television. Beyond acting, Samms became an advocate for individuals with chronic illnesses, having been diagnosed with long COVID, which she has openly discussed in interviews. Now 64, Samms continues to appear in soap operas and special TV projects, while also focusing on raising awareness for chronic illnesses. Michael Nader. Michael Nader made a powerful impression as Dex Dexter, the bold and charismatic lover of Alexis Colby in Dynasty. His character was one of the few men who could match Alexis's intensity, making their romance one of the most compelling storylines of the series. Born Michael Robert Nader on February 19, 1945, in St. Louis, Missouri, Nader began his career in beach films of the 1960s before transitioning to soap operas and television dramas. He gained recognition in the 1970s with roles in soap operas, establishing himself as a leading man with rugged charm and magnetic screen presence. Nader joined Dynasty in 1983 as Dex Dexter, Alexis Colby's most passionate and unpredictable love interest. His character was a successful businessman who challenged Alexis like no other, leading to a tumultuous but unforgettable romance. Following Dynasty, Nader remained in daytime television, most notably playing Dmitri Merrick on All My Children, a role that earned him a dedicated fan following. However, personal struggles, including legal issues and substance abuse, affected his career in later years. Despite these setbacks, he remained a beloved figure in soap opera history. Michael Nader passed away on August 23, 2021, at the age of 76, following a battle with cancer. His portrayal of Dex Dexter remains a memorable part of Dynasty, and his contributions to television continue to be celebrated by fans of classic soap operas. Stephanie Beacham. Stephanie Beacham brought elegance, fierceness, and a commanding presence to the role of Sable Colby, one of the most formidable women in the Dynasty universe. Introduced in The Colbys, the spin-off of Dynasty, Sable was the strong-willed, calculating, and glamorous wife of Jason Colby and a rival to her own cousin, Alexis Colby. Beacham's portrayal made Sable one of the most sophisticated and ruthless women on primetime television, earning her a lasting place in Dynasty history. Born Stephanie Beacham on February 28, 1947, in Barnet, London, England, she pursued acting after losing much of her hearing in one ear due to childhood measles. Determined to succeed, she studied at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, and began her career on British television and stage productions. Beacham joined the Colbys in 1985 as Sable Colby, a woman who exuded wealth, charm, and ruthless ambition. As Jason Colby's wife and Alexis Colby's cousin, she was a fierce adversary, often using her intelligence and manipulation to protect her interests. Despite the Colbys lasting only 2 seasons, Beacham's portrayal of Sable was so well received that she was brought into the final season of Dynasty. Her powerful presence and dramatic flair made Sable one of the most captivating characters in the franchise. After Dynasty, Beacham returned to British television, starring in BBC and ITV dramas, including the hit El Dorado. She also appeared in American television, including a recurring role on Beverly Hills. Beyond acting, she became an advocate for disability awareness and wrote a book about her experiences as an actress with partial hearing loss. Now 78, Beacham remains active in British television and stage acting. She continues to appear in dramas and occasionally speaks about her time on Dynasty in retrospectives. Catherine Kath Beller. Catherine Kath Beller won hearts with her poignant and emotional portrayal of Kirby Anders, the daughter of the Carrington family's longtime butler, Joseph. Unlike the show's wealthier characters, Kirby was humble, passionate, and caught in a web of power struggles that made her storylines deeply engaging. Born Catherine Lee Beller on February 19, 1956, in Los Angeles, California, she began acting as a teenager, landing roles in major television productions. She gained early fame with performances in films like The Godfather Part 2 and Promised Land, as well as various TV dramas. Her storyline included complicated romantic entanglements, particularly with Jeff Colby, and a traumatic assault by Adam Carrington, which became one of the show's most dramatic and controversial plots. Beller's raw and emotional performance brought depth to Dynasty, making Kirby one of the show's most sympathetic and compelling characters. After leaving Dynasty, Beller focused on film and television work, taking on roles in dramas and thrillers throughout the late 1980s and 1990s. She stepped away from acting in later years, choosing to focus on her family and personal life. Now 69, Beller maintains a private life and rarely appears in public. While she doesn't participate in Dynasty reunions as frequently as some of her co-stars, her performance as Kirby remains a fan favorite, and she is remembered for bringing authenticity and heart to the series.